cannot wrap up Music Talk without getting in tune with our legendary hip hop royalty guest,
Kurtis Blow.
Welcome.
You know, I have to throw it in there. You know, I'm gonna say this, and you know, I'm proud to be a part of the family tree the same family tree that you're a part of, and it's dope. You know, every time I'm working, DJing somewhere, and you know, I'm doing an older event, or you know, I'm anything like listening to music, something, and people mention your name, so I have to slip in there like, yeah, that's family.
That's my uncle.
Yeah, you know, I have to throw it in. So it's like, you know, it's dope that to see somebody within my family that's really a legend. A legend.
But you know, let me tell you, the inside story is your dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was one of my biggest supporters up in New York. When he was living in New York with your grandfather, who was there too, man, that was my crew. We went everywhere, you know? Yeah. And your grandfather, wow, was there. He rode on a float in the parade when they gave me my street sign name, you know, up in the Bronx. They gave me my own street sign on the concourse.
Yeah.
And he was there along with my mom. And so that was your grandfather. So he goes way back to supporting me throughout those years. And in the 70s and the 80s, actually, your grandfather took me to my first baseball game. Wow. We went and saw the Yankees.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Back in 60 something, 68, something like that. I was like 9 or 10. See? Yep. So we family for real.
Yeah.
With a history and a legacy.
Yeah.
Yes. I was gonna say next time Pops is up here, I think you, him, and our son August should go to the block and take a picture with your sign.
Yeah. I mean,
all right.
We definitely have to do that. It's a lot of things we have to do, you know. We all have to like literally get together.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like we have to catch up with Kurtis. Like, he's busy. So, you know, we got to catch up with him. The last time I seen you, it was down south. Like, it was in Carolina.
Right. At the dinner, the lunch.
Yeah.
Right. I remember.
Yeah.
Well,
yep.
The crazy truth is a lot of people that are born in 2000 are 21 now and did not get to hear Kurtis Blow on the airwaves and stuff. So can you just tell the people listening, tuned in right now, a little history about Kurtis Blow, please?
Well, it really is a very long story, but I'll try to make it as short as possible, y'all. So please bear with me. But it all happened way back in, I'll say, 1972, when the older kids from my block came down to my house and they was like, yeah, we heard about you. We heard you could dance. You're a real B-boy. And so I was like 13 and they said, we want to use you as our secret weapon when we go out and battle on the east side with these kids over at Chuck Center. Was a club over there on 115th Street and 2nd Avenue, right? So I was like, all right, no problem. My older brother was a B-boy too. So he knew I had the moves and everything. And so he inspired me. Yeah, go ahead, do your thing, right? So I went out to this battle my first time. And of course we rehearsed and got routines together and I was doing all the flips and acrobatics and stuff. And as a young little shorty, you know, I was short with the fast footwork and everything. And so we did really well. We rocked the house that night, right? And so they put me down with their crew. Their crew was called the Hill Boys, over there on 140th Street and 141st Street and Amsterdam Avenue. And I was from Convent, was one block south. And your dad used to live on that block, as a matter of fact.
Yep.
Right? This is 140th Street.
Yep.
Our hood. And so, you know, I went on being a b-boy, and then I started DJing, because the DJs, we used to play certain music, certain songs with a funky break in it, so we could do our dance moves, right? And so, you know, we used to sit up like researchers, go to your father's house, go to your uncle's house, your sister's house, and sit up all day long listening to the music collection and finding that one song that had a b-boy break in it. And we take it back to the DJ, yo, play this, right? Mm-hmm. And so after, you know, listening to all the music that was really soul music during that time in the 60s and the early 70s, I became a DJ, a connoisseur of music. So I became the neighborhood DJ, and we did a party one time in 1972 or 73 maybe, over at City College. Wow. Which is the campus that, you know, I lived on the northern section of the campus on 140th Street. So the college went from 140th Street all the way down to 130th Street. But on the north side of the campus, they had this big square center, and you could fit people in there. Man, we had 1,000 kids up in there on a Saturday doing this block party, and I got all the music, and I was about 14 years, so only 14, right? I got all the music from everybody in the neighborhood. I knew this guy had jams and this guy had jams. So I went and got a collection of all the hottest records that we love, and I played them that day. And that was the first time I DJ'd for the neighborhood. I became a DJ after that, also b-boy, and I started rapping in 1974 at a community center up on Amsterdam, 152nd in Amsterdam. It was a community center called Wham. It is across the street from the Battlegrounds, a big park we used to jam at. So I hung up there a few years with the People's Choice and Fever Disco. Back in the days, in the late 70s, I got another job at Small's Paradise on 135th Street and 7th Avenue. I became the house DJ there, went out to Queens and met Run DMC and Russell Simmons and all that whole crew. We opened up a disco called Night Fever Disco on 201st Street and Hollis Avenue. But all throughout those years, I'm DJing and rapping on the mic and doing my thing. And, you know, I really got the experience and the reputation and the popularity to be blessed, to have the opportunity to make my own record. And that came after I got into college and hooked up with Russell Simmons, and we became promoters, giving these college jams. We called ourselves Rush Productions, the Force in College Disco. And so we used to give out flyers at Hunter and Lehman College and Baruch and all over, CCNY, Hunter, everywhere. We went to all the colleges in New York, and we would have 1,000, 1,500 kids come down to the Hotel Diplomat, which was a Midtown Manhattan, once a month, like ballroom. Yeah. The Hotel Diplomat. It was incredible. Those nights, giving those parties, man, I'll never forget them. That was such a a special, special time before, rap records were made. And this was a whole society of young people who loved and cherished, the elements of the culture, which were, rapping, DJing, scratching, b-boying, and of course we added the graffiti later on. I became a master artist. I went to the High School of Music and Arts for art and music. And so that's it in a nutshell. That's my history. I finally got the record deal after being so popular in New York with Rush Productions and giving parties and people knowing our steez. And so we got the opportunity to make Christmas rap in 1979. I became the first rapper signed to a major label.
Yes.
And followed up with the first certified gold rap song for the culture. That's the song, The Breaks.
Yes.
Amen.
Yeah, that people like the history. Yeah, history is just incredible. And is with the parties you guys were doing, was that the inspiration for, well, with the parties and then the progress to the rap, to the label, to everything else? That was the background focus of Crush Groove.
Yes, sir. And make no mistake about it, folks. Everyone, listen to this. It was all about the music, the love of the music. That's what spawned the dance to the music.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the DJ who had to play the special right kind of music, right? And then the rapper who was like, oh my God, I got these instrumental, these breaks. This is a funky break. Yo, I gotta say something. Yes, sure. I took the beat, sure. You know what I mean? So it was the music first. Don't get it twisted. Don't let anyone tell you any different than this. First, there was the music and the love of the music. The music was our escapism from all the trauma and drama and oppression that we were facing coming out of the civil rights movement and the assassination of our heroes, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Roots had just come out. So we're learning about our real history, Kunta Kinte was on TV. So there was anger in the youth learning about our history.
Yeah.
And the fact that we were still oppressed and treated like modern day slaves. And so hip hop became our not only rebellion, but our
voice,
escapism from all of the pain and all of the suffering.
I say that now at being a DJ, a lot of people sit back and ask, well, why become a DJ? Why? Well, my one thing is because I was given the talent to take people away from whatever it is that they have going on in their life. Once they get dressed up to come outside and to go out and to have that moment to where they can enjoy themselves.
That's what it's all about.
Drama. That's why I became a DJ.
Right.
And once I was given that or figured out that was a talent of mine, it can't go nowhere. I'll always have that passion.
Yeah.
It's entertainment, the ultimate in entertainment. And, it's so vital and important to our society and our lives and our future, this culture, because it gives us the ability to cope with reality. And so, you know, I remember, man, listen, I remember going to like a Cool Herc jam, and he had them bass bottoms. They was like rumbling throughout the whole club. And I would just go, you know, I come from home, my mom and dad are fighting, right? And I'm going out to the club. I just take my head and stick it into the speaker and close my eyes and let that bass just rumble all the way through my body, right? And I could feel it in my toes. And I'm closing my eyes and I would just go off. And that's hip hop right there. You hear me?
Absolutely.
That's official hip hop right there.
Absolutely.
Going off.
Well, going on to releasing many more albums, even dropping another classic basketball, and also coordinating a lot of the music for these shows and movies that released as well. What would you say is the moment you're most proud of yourself?
Well, there are a few. I have some jewels, you know, you know how the Bible says, don't cast your pearls. I have some pearls, and and it's got to do with a lot of my family, like my son, my youngest, he graduated from Stanford University, you know, on a academic scholarship, not sports, academic. And he passed with flying. Man, I remember I went back to college and we were in a contest, and we were battling GPAs, right? And I got a 3.83 in my Bible college, right? Which I thought I was, you know, right under the 4.0. This kid got a 4.3. Wow. Right? Killed me. So, you know, then my middle son, him graduating from high school was incredible. My youngest son met Obama, went to, he won the academic decathlon, the Acadeca. I don't know if you know about that program, but all the high schools compete in the academic, you know, Olympics. Yeah. And it's incredible. His school won. I was there for the whole thing for that. My gosh. I would say, dealing with my career, there was that Martin Luther King song, the MLK King Holiday song. Yeah. When I got the opportunity to produce Whitney Houston and Tina Marie, Stephanie Mills, Menudo, Kool and the Gang, you know, of course, the Fat Boys and Run DMC, and my buddy Melly Bell actually co-wrote the song with me. It was a great, meaningful song for the holiday, talking about Martin Luther King, Dr. Reverend MLK. Incredible song. I think that was my most meaningful production. But then I did an Obama song. You got to hear it. It never was released. I never released it, but it is an incredible tribute song. And that's what I've been doing lately, these tribute songs. I did one for John Russell, you know, the senator who just passed away. We call that the King of Humanity. Incredible song about him. We did one for Raphael Warnock, the senator out of Atlanta. For his campaign, we did a tribute song about him. Incredible song. And There's a new one we haven't released yet, but it is a production where I used all females.
Oh, wow.
Female rappers, about 20 rappers, 20 female rappers, and about 4 female singers are singing this song. It's a tribute song to Kamala Harris, the first female vice president. And so we have a song for her. It's not finished yet. We're mixing it right now, but we have people like Tina Marie and Billboard Baby, Justina. I'm not Tina Marie. I mean Sheila E. And rest in peace, Sarah Dash sang on the song as well. So many rappers, Rock, and MC Light, and on and on and on. So it's a great song we have coming out real soon.
That's dope. That's dope. Amazing. That's dope. So I had a question about basketball. Now, the record Basketball, which is a very big record for, it's a big record, period, but it's NBA usage. So how did making that record come about?
Well, I tell you the truth. It was my wife of 37 years. A female came up with the idea, the concept. She came to me one day. She said, "Kurtis, you always watching this basketball. I know you love it, but you need to make a theme song for basketball, because baseball has its own theme song. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd, And so basketball doesn't have a theme song. I think you would do very well if you made the first basketball theme song." And so I said, wow, that's a great idea. As long as we put Dr. J in it, I'm good. Right? So I went to my writers and my boy, Billy Bill, who wrote 8 Million Stories and throughout the years, and also games people play. He was one of my b-boy partners back in the days in the 70s. So we stayed friends, and he was like my staff writer. And so I told him about the concept, and he came up with the lyrics, wrote 3 verses, included Dr. J, so I was happy. And the song became a classic. It was more than what we ever bargained for, because, not only was it played on the radio, but it became like the actual theme song for many teams around the country, and not just NBA teams at their practices and stuff, but we're talking college, and we're talking high school, we're talking anyone who was out in the park playing ball. They had their box on the side playing music, and that was the layup line, that song right there. You do your layup line.
Yep.
Playing basketball. Yep. And I got that from many coaches around the country. So the song became a classic. And I thank God, I thank all the people involved for helping me with it. And listen, it's going to be around for a long time after we are all gone. But I tell you this, I'm trying to work on a new version and include, a lot of the newer players of today, like, the Splash Brothers, Steph Curry, and LeBron James.
Wow.
That'll be
Durant, the Greek freak.
You got to remember, like a lot of that record was played in a lot of movies, a lot of basketball movies, so it's like, it's just ongoing. The legacy of that record is just gonna be.
And it's only right that you make the remix or the new.
Yeah, it only makes sense. Nobody else can do it.
Nobody else can do it.
There you go. All right, I'm on it. Trying to make it work.
With the mini where rapper, b-boy, DJ, you even mentioned you was into the graffiti art, producing. Like, what would you say you had the most fun doing, like creatively?
Oh gosh. Wow. That's a really good question. And you see me, I'm looking up like, dang, I had fun being a b-boy. Oh my God, that was incredible to me, because that was like I was a teenager, you know, a young kid, and I was unstoppable, you know, like, wow, the best on the block for sure, by far. And it was just a good feeling to be popular for that, knowing that, you know, I could turn the party out. You know, it's a good feeling. And that's what it was all about, you know, to having a good time, being entertained. And wow, there's one guy in the crowd who's dancing better, like Saturday Night Fever, John Travolta in the club. You know, everybody stops dancing and they move back and create a circle around him. Wow. And he's turning the party out with his dance moves, right? And so that was me. Wow. But then, you know, being in the studio, listening to the fidelity of really good, clean music was a life-changing situation for me. I had been in community centers and block parties and park jams, and the sound systems were okay, but you know, nothing like this.
Yeah,
the fidelity of headphones. Oh my God. And you're rapping and the mic sounds so clear and clean. I became a studio rapper for sure, you know. But then there's nothing like being on stage and having the power of the control of all these people in the palm of your hands. I saw it with DJ Hollywood. I mean, he would say one thing and the whole crowd would say another. And that to me was the most incredible thing about hip hop, was that call and response. And somebody say, oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, oh my God, to hear that come back at you. Everybody scream. When you hear 20,000 people do that, man, you got to step back, because it's like, it's power, man. That is power. And if you're not ready for it, it will traumatize you. You like, oh, what happened? What have I done?
Like listening to 100 people do it, it's just like, it's like,
right,
damn, like I'm really in control of this crowd. Like, all right, let's go.
Right.
Let's where I could go next.
Crowd control.
Any crowd control. Feel like power. You like, oh, I love this. It's like, you know, how people say, you know, like music is a drug, and like I really look at it like that. Like DJing is a drug. Like I'm a drug. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's nothing like that high of listening to people, like watching your product go out and then the response. It's like, oh God. Right. You know what I'm saying? Being a drug dealer and you got the block clicking. Like, it's like, oh shoot, yo, my work is great. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's exactly what it's like. You know what I'm saying? But
the feeling of like when you play a certain song, and the whole crowd goes, oh, and everybody gets on the dance floor. That's the success of entertainment as far as a DJ is concerned. You know, that feeling to know that every time you turn the music down, they know the vocals.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's incredible.
and that face, like if you like I pay attention to the crowd a lot, but it's always one person or maybe a couple in the crowd that you can zoom in on, and when you play that record, they make that face of like
yeah.
that like I ain't hear this in a long time face like that.
They're saying the
they're
lyrics.
happy.
Artists themselves, like word for word. You're like, wow, they're really feeling.
It's a dope. It's a feeling. It's a dope feeling, and I can imagine being an artist, what that feels like. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because it's your creativity that inspired that feeling. It's different for. We're putting out their artist work, but when you're the actual artist and they give you that feedback back, you're like, those are my words. I wrote that. You know what I'm saying? Those are my lyrics. It's crazy.
It's dope.
I have one last question about to add on to the last question I asked. Have you ever b-boyed on stage while you were rapping your lyrics?
That's a trick question because it's actually impossible.
Stop, and then you like, I gotta show the crowd a little something.
No, it's either one or the other. You know, I'm rapping, and then there's a music break. Like the breaks was set up for that.
Yeah.
You know, brakes on a bus, brakes on the car, brakes that make you a superstar, brakes that win and brakes you lose. These here brakes that rock your shoes, and these are the brakes. Break it up, break it up, break it up. And then the break come, boom. When that break come, I'm on the floor doing my best moves right there. That's what it was set up for. So yes, I have done it, but technically not at the same time. Like I'm not brakes on a bus, brakes on and doing windmills. No, impossible.
Got it.
So, all right. So let me ask you, like, can you give me like something that, because I know you've been on like a tour with all these incredible artists, like the Fat Boys, Run DMC, LL Cool J, you know, even the female artists, the Shirley Eads and all that. So can you give me like one of the most funniest things that stuck out to you that happened on one of these tours?
Oh, yes, I remember being on an all hip hop tour, the Fresh Fest. Run DMC, the Fat Boys, Houdini, the Dynamic Breakers, and myself, and Soul Sonic Force, or what were another group. Well, anyway, so we're backstage. I'm hanging with Houdini. It's me, Ecstasy, Grandmaster D, right? The DJ.
Yeah.
And so, you know, Ecstasy rests in peace. I'm standing with X. We're sitting there talking. And so behind us, backstage, is still like a little balcony. And then the people still backstage, right? And so we're standing there, we're talking, and all of a sudden, somebody out of the stand behind us grabs Ecstasy's hat. You know, I'm talking about the famous hat, right?
Yeah.
The Zorro hat, right?
Yeah.
That hat. He grabbed it and ran up the stairs to the people. So I jumped up and I chased him. I ran after him, followed him all the way up to like almost the balcony, almost. And he was sitting there with a group of his people. And he went and sat down. And I immediately came over to him and grabbed that hat, snatched it out of his hand, and pointed my finger at him. You can't have this, right? So I went back down. By the time I was getting ready to go back down, everybody else had followed me up. Houdini and Run DMC and the Fat Boys, they all came to see what was happening with Kurtis, because, you know, somebody had stole the hat and Kurtis went after them. So they all came, and we all were there. But it was really a unifying effort that showed the solidarity of our crew, you know, in protecting that hat, because that was a very special, you know, prop for hip hop back then. And rest in peace, my man Ecstasy. I love you, man, forever.
Yes,
definitely.
That's crazy. That's a crazy story. So I had a question. Are you familiar with the versus battles that go on now between artists? I know KRS-One is going up against Big Daddy Kane. How do you feel about that battle? Are you a fan of one over the other?
I mean, I love them both. I'm not a fan over. I couldn't be.
Yeah.
Because, you know, this is hip hop, and my belief is that we all are talented. God has blessed us, and we are fortunate, and we are in the position to share the love and make people happy. So that's my bottom line, you know. So when it comes to battles and stuff, I really don't support that, and never have. And I don't think I ever will. I'm just not into the competitiveness of a battle. When it comes to actually saying rhymes that are disrespectful to the next man, then that's another story too. I definitely am not a part of that. As you know, my lyrics, over 200 rap songs, and I never use profanity. So I'm all for the integrity of hip hop. That's my whole thing. I say integrity, but a man of the cloth will say it's God. Amen. So I'll leave it at that. I'll say they are both talented, very special people, and man, I could listen to KRS-One, I can listen to Big Daddy Kane and have the same enjoyment out of both. Amen.
And that's the thing, like with the versus battles, I get it. It's called versus, but it's not technically a battle because nobody really wins. It to me showcases
one person.
It just showcases the catalog of these artists, which a lot of people may have forgotten about or aren't as, you know, like how you say
familiar with it.
Not familiar, but it's not a lot going on, you know? Like with KRS-One and Big Daddy Kane, they might have a lot of other things going on career-wise or like personally that they're doing behind the scenes or whatever. But when it comes musically, a lot of people aren't familiar with their full catalogs.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, especially the younger generations and stuff like that. But it's more so to me concerts. This is what it's concerts.
Yeah, as long as it's done in love and there's no disrespect in the lyrics. But I remember watching the Bow Wow and Soulja Boy verses. And I mean, it was pretty entertaining, but they came at each other a little, you know, rough. Like and
do that. Like
I think I think they discuss it though. You know, like
yes.
like with the battle that the verses that happened with
Jabbo and Fat Joe,
the Locks,
they had a conversation
with the Locks and Dipset. They had
Yeah,
they had conversations and they told each other, yeah, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. And they're gonna, it to me, it's these people have been around each other for years and years. We're looking at the Locks and Diplomats at like almost 20 years of being around each other and a bond, So it's just playful banter.
Yeah, because they're friends.
That it to make it entertaining to the general public of people that right now like anything that happens drama, any kind of drama. This is what the world likes now, drama.
I know Fat Joe and Ja Rule said we had dinner before the night before, and we told each other we were gonna.
I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna say that, and then you say this and then you say that.
But at the end of the day, we're gonna hug it out. You're my brother, and stuff like that.
Yeah, to me it's cool. I like it. It just gives me concert vibes, like free concerts. That's all it is, like free concerts for the public. It's cool. Like look at KRS-One and Big Daddy Kane. This is gonna be a show.
Yeah.
Because the records that they're going to perform, one were powerful record.
Yeah.
And two are legendary and classic.
Yeah.
So I can't wait for that. I love it. I love it. I love the versus battles. I'm just glad it's not a full battle.
Yeah.
Like your mama and I'm glad it's just not that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to see those. I don't want to see artists do that.
Yeah.
Especially artists at those type of plateaus and But
so what do you think about that Nick Cannon show?
Wildin' Out?
Yeah.
I like it. It's entertaining. It's comical.
I like the improv of it.
It gives me a Saturday Night Live in living color, new improv.
Type of hip hop.
New improv. Like I don't read too much into it because
I know they're all cool.
I know, they all work. It's a job. They all work together. They all see each other every day and rehearse these things every day. Like it's not. I don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
Right.
I hear you. You can't take it seriously because these people all get a big check. And sit in rehearsal meetings, and it's me it's acting. It's comedic acting.
Right.
In your career, I know you're not for battles, but did anyone ever try to maybe put you up against another person, another rapper, or anything like that?
Well, I sort of take a page out of the book of DJ Hollywood, who is like one of my mentors, and a guy I called the first king of rap, even before me, right? And so I remember there was a time where Hollywood, Eddie Chiba, and another guy named Lovebuck Starsky were all the hottest MCs in New York. And you couldn't have a party if you didn't have their names on the flyer. Your party was dead without them, right? And so during that time, Hollywood came up with the concept, okay, we're on top right now. We don't need to battle anybody because, it's a risk of losing our title.
Yeah.
And you can't even get a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So they wouldn't battle anybody. People would challenge them. It was like, no, they let it would die out. You know what I mean? Same thing with those records, because I made a record at one time called I'm Chillin' in 1986, but it was kind of controversial with a lot of rappers because I had this lyric that said, the diss of female is a low down shame, but you suckers make the records because you want to gain fame. Or you radio cats don't play that crap. Can't you see they're messing up the golden name of the rap? Now, all these years, rappers worked so hard. Rappers a name and all you rappers a job. But now you peasy head B-boys got me upset when you diss Veronica and you diss Yvette. And don't forget LaToya in the real Roxanne. Can't you think of something else? You know what I'm saying? All you MCs just keep on illing. That's okay, because I'm chilling, right? So Veronica, Yvette, dear Yvette, all of real Roxanne, all of them, the guys who made those songs came on the attack and made records about me, dissing me, but I never answered them. It just, you know, I never went in one ear and out the other. I wouldn't give them a shot of answering their diss record to me.
I never really got the understanding behind the real Roxanne diss. Maybe I gotta watch the documentary about it, but it was like back then. I like the unity was heavy back then to me. I would have figured, you know what I'm saying, and then like and then turning course into the 90s or whatever the case may be. I thought the unity got a little bit greater, you know, after the Self-Destruction record.
Right. But you see, that's my whole thing. I was like the guy who didn't want the battles, because I saw back in the days when I was a B-boy, when we used to dance against the Puerto Ricans, there will always be a fight at the end of the party. And these were gangs, two gangs coming together like West Side Story, right? On one side would be the Puerto Ricans, on the other side would be the blacks. Then we meet in the middle, battle and dance, and it will always be a fight. You know what I mean? So, and that is what really messed hip hop in those messed it up in those early days when you had, you know, the fights at the party. Turning the party out doesn't mean you start a fight. You know what I mean? Or then you had people like the Casanovas, you know, the gangs, who used to shoot guns up in the air, and then everyone is panicking, and then they're snatching chains and snatching coats and catch you in the bathroom and rob you and take your money and all your jewelry and your hat or whatever. You know what I mean? And it was all a setup that the Casanovas could do. So people stopped going out to hip hop parties, the B-boy parties up in the Bronx because of that. And I remember that, and it really messed hip hop up. I mean, who wants to go out to a party and get robbed? You know, you got a brand new coat, Sherwin Lamb coat. You're gonna go to the party and get your coat taken right before school starts too? Yo, so hip hop actually died right before, in those years, late 78 and early 79. It's like nobody wanted to go out to the parties because of that fact. They were going to get robbed. And what saved hip hop was the rap record. Yeah. A lot of people don't know this story, but hip hop almost died. And the rap record came out, Sugar Hill Gang, Rappers Alike, then Kurtis Blow, that saved hip hop.
I think hip hop has died a lot of times throughout, you know, history. And I feel like it's always something that brings it back around, but it's sad that something negative always goes around and tries to kill hip hop off or make people shun away from it, you know, or like you said, because people were getting robbed. Oh, I ain't going to no hip hop party no more, you know. And luckily, there's things that come around to revive it, to bring it back to life.
But yeah, like look, it almost died in the 90s when the gangster rap really started coming out. Then it almost died again in the 90s with Tupac and Biggie thing.
Right.
And
the violence.
Yeah. And then once you hit the 2000s and everything calmed down a little bit, then that was the height of the transition of you know, the down south rap.
Yeah.
So once the down south rap came in and transitioned, like kind of took it over a little bit, then it was like, oh, hip hop's dead, you know. But you got to understand where these things aren't happening. Like down south was down south, you know. It was the South. South was quiet.
Starting in
right. The South was quiet. It had made its noise when it needed to make its noise, but it was quiet, you know, as far as music. So once they picked up and started, oh, New York has got this, New York has got, it's like they took it over.
Yeah, I feel like New York or East Coast was like,
and New York was trying to get it together.
Yeah.
Like we were trying to get it together. Like East Coast was trying to get it together. Like, whoa, it's too many people
West
dying
Coast
over here.
too, yeah.
What do we do to get this music back in the clubs and have good time? What happens? Down south, they start snapping their fingers, doing their dances, and now New York said, "Oh,
people want to have fun.
They partying down there. Ain't nobody dying."
Right, right.
We need that.
Yeah.
And that's what they did, you know, and you know,
it's a cycle. It's a cycle.
Yeah, hip hop is just a cycle, but it's a legendary cycle. The things that come out of it, the death, the rebirth, like it's hip hop is a phoenix.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's exactly what hip hop. You know. So.
Well, before we let you go, we do have a part of the show because it's him and her talk, relationship talk. I know you mentioned you're married, so we are about to get married, right?
Oh, congratulations!
Yes,
yeah, thank you.
So I just want to know, what advice would you give for someone that's about to get married, maybe recently engaged, about to get married? What advice would you give to those people? And to us.
Wow. I would say pray as much as you can with each other. And there's a lot of information in the Bible about marriage and how God looks at it, because God really respects marriage and God ordains marriage. And it's such a blessing that you have the opportunity to create this new life. You know, you two will become one person. And that is the joy of life. When this happens, it gets no better. There's no drug in the world. There's no amount of money in the world that can replace love, true, genuine love of two people. Yeah. So it's a blessing. Just look at it as a blessing and pray every time you can. And always love each other, no matter what. I don't care what it is. If there's an issue, the love that you have for each other will overcome that issue. Love conquers all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very wise. Very wise.
Thank you very much. So that concludes the day.
Yes.
And it was a pleasure sitting down.
I'm still in awe. My cheeks hurt from smiling so much. I've been on a phone call with a legend today. So my week. I appreciate you coming through, talking with him and her.
Yeah, it was definitely a blessing listening to, the jewels and the gems and the stories. It was definitely dope, and I hope our audience also finds it as dope, to hear these things come from a legend, not because the legend happens to be family, but just the fact that
of
you're
who
just
you are
who
and
you
what
are.
you've done for hip hop.
Take the family out of the whole situation. You just are who you are.
Yeah.
And God blessed you to be just that. And you took it and you ran with it, and you made greatness out of it.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you, and thank you very much for sitting down with us today.
Yeah.
My pleasure. It was my honor and my pleasure. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And young lady, I want to say to you, welcome to the family.
Oh,
amen. And we look forward to seeing you guys on the next picnic, the next family reunion. I'll be there.
Yeah, we definitely get out there.
Let's keep praying for our people, our families, between all the COVID and everything, resurgence and the Delta and what have you, and the police out there just going crazy with our people. Let's pray for our people every day and make sure everything is going to be all right. All right. Let's stay safe, everyone.
Yes,
all right? God bless you.